Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. It's about that time. Let's go take that walk and see what's in the fridge today.
Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Today look at this great big corked and cage bottle. Guys, this is the Coop Works Territorial Reserve Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. Dr. Brandon sent me, I think he sent me a couple bottles of this, and I reviewed it, one of them back in 2017. And looking at the date on the rifle stock, it looked like a 2010 to me, but I'm pretty sure both of these beers were 2016 editions. It's hard to make out that last digit between a 0 and a 6. But I'm pretty sure it's a 2016 edition. When I went and looked on Beer Advocate, they have ABVs not listed. Well, that's a lie. I don't know if they have done this beer a bunch of different times or not, but right on the back of the bottle it says it's 13.5%. Easy to read there. So Dr. Brandon, thanks again. Evidently I didn't go back and look at the beer mail videos or anything, but I do remember doing this beer back in early 2017. So it is a 2016 edition, and it has cellared a couple of years now. So hopefully it's going to be just as tasty as it was then, because I was very impressed with it then. But I don't know why Beer Advocate doesn't have the ABV not listed when it's written plainly on the back of the bottle. And it's a silkscreen pre-printed up bottle for this particular year. But it is a great big bottle, 750 milliliter bottle with a cork and cage on it. And a lot of times these corks are very hard to get out of these bottles. So I don't know if I'm going to have to go get the pliers to get it out, or I'm going to make a strange face trying to twist the cork out of it or not. When I go over to Untappd, they don't have any ABV or any IBUs listed either, and they've got the 2016 list there. So I don't understand why neither site has that listed when it is plainly written on the back of the bottle. So what's up with that? Can you not read the back of the bottle? Because this is a 2016 and it is written on there. So what's up with that, guys? Why is there no ABV listed when it's on the bottle? So I don't understand that. But I was really impressed with it the first time I had it. And evidently he sent me 2 of these, which is probably a very expensive bottle to buy, especially when you see these corked and cage versions of these monster sized bottles. So with that being said, it is what it is. Commercial description on Untappd says nice, smooth, a little boozy on the backside, but great in nippy weather. Well, it's not very nippy. It has been kind of rainy here the last hour or two. Probably down into the 70s, lower 70s right now. So I like these styles of beer all year long, guys. I mean, it doesn't matter to me if it's 90 and 95 degrees outside, because I'm not outside drinking it. I'm in the house where it's in the 70s. So I do like this style of beer, especially the bourbon barrel aged or barrel aged versions of beers. I like to get those notes, especially for the final beer of the evening, which this is for me. But I'm hoping it's going to be just as tasty as it was the last time I had it, because I was very impressed with it. So let's see what we're going to get here. We've talked about everything. And like I said, on the rifle buttstock here, it looks like 2010, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a 2016. If it's a 2010, And it looks very much like a 0 instead of a 6. Maybe it is a 2010 edition. I don't know, guys. So it's very hard to read that last number, but I'm assuming, and you know what to say about assuming things, it makes an ass out of you and me. It could be a 0 or it could be a 6. So I'm just thinking it's a 6 because he sent it to me. Don't think he could have picked this up unless he pulled it out of his private cellaring collection and sent me these. I don't know. But I'm just going to say it's a 2016 edition, and maybe it's a 2010. I don't know. I don't know. So we've talked about everything we need to talk about. So let's get this cage off the top of this cork and see if I have the strength to get the cork out of it. And I'm going to make that taste probably. Not too bad. It's moving. So I believe we're going to not have to get the pliers out for this. So let's see what kind of pop we get. And not a huge pop, but it is enough to let you know that it is carbonated. Everything's staying in the bottle. It's not gushing out like an overcarbonated beer does. So into the glass we go, and we're going to pour this right straight down the center. And this is a great big 750, so I plan on sharing the other half of this because I don't need to drink a whole bottle of this. Aggressive pour, about a half a finger of head. It looks fairly well carbonated from the bubbles coming back around the side of the glass. It is pitch black, guys. It is very dark beer, like a stout should be, in my opinion. So, and the head's not sticking around. It's down just barely covering the top of the beer now. So to the nose we go. Rich roasted malt. I am getting him some barrel notes. And this bottle says right here, Territorial Reserve, Coop Ale Works, Bourbon Barrel Aged Imperial Stout. So it is done in a bourbon barrel, and I am getting some of those bourbon notes. It smells very, very awesome, guys. Now the bourbon is not off the chain, and that's probably where they wanted it to be. So I don't know how long they left it in the barrels. They may have not wanted the bourbon overpowering everything else. A lot of the beers that are left a year or so in those barrels, in first run barrels that's never had beer in them before, have big, huge, off the chain bourbon notes, and I like that. But this one may be brewed and barrel aged to where those notes are not overpowering everything. But if you're paying big money for a beer that's corked in cages, I definitely want to be able to smell and taste that, because you're paying a premium price for that. Because when it's sitting in those barrels for however how long they decide to do that, it's taking up space and it's costing you money. Rich roasted malt, bourbon notes, black molasses, bittersweet chocolate, probably even some dark fruit in there, raisins, dates, plums, or figs. But the roasted malt and the bourbon and slight hints of chocolate are standing out on my nose. Smells very, 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 very pleasant. Very nice. And the bourbon notes and the dark fruit notes may even come out even more once it comes up to room temperature, which we always do, no matter what style of beer it is, whether it's a lager or lagers. I usually drink them pretty quick because they're better cold. But the IPAs and everything else, all the rest of the styles, I usually sip on them, especially once we get into these imperial versions of beers and the darker beers. Have a little bit more prominent taste and aroma once it comes up to room temperature. So let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Dr. Brandon. Thank you, sir. So we see how this thing is cellared over the last couple of years. That is delicious, guys. The bourbon taste is there. The roasted malt. This is an excellent, well-made bourbon stout. That's tasty. That is very, very tasty. It is a pleasure to drink a beer of this quality and have all those notes that I'm getting from the aroma and from the taste on this beer, even though it's still cold. it was a very, very tasty beer. So I'm just as impressed right now with what I had back in 2017 as I am with what's in my glass right now. So very tasty, very, very, very tasty. Makes me want to pour all of it in my glass. But that'd be a pig, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be a big pig. So we need to pour her a glass of it and let her enjoy some of this too, and let it come up to room temperature, and we'll come back and see where it ends up. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Been sipping on it for a while. Very, very tasty beer. Bourbon notes are there, roasted malt is there, hints of bittersweet chocolate, maybe a little dark fruit in there. Very, very well done. It has cellared exceptionally well. Impressive beer. It is absolutely an impressive beer. If you can get your hands on the Coop Ale Works Territorial Reserve bourbon barrel version, big beer. This one is a 13.5%. The alcohol is as hidden as it can be for a monster beer of this magnitude. This is definitely, absolutely, positively one you want to drink at home if you don't have a designated driver. So I don't know if they distributed any of this in kegs to brew pubs or bars or anything like that. I would never, ever drink a beer of this magnitude if I was driving somewhere and having a beer at a bar or a brew pub. I would never, never, ever have a 13.5% beer and try to drive. Maybe when I was a young dumbass, I may have. But now, knowing what I know, and as lucky as I have been driving, and driving drunk on top of that in my younger days, I know better than that now. And they used to be a little more forgiving in the earlier years, 60s and 70s, and maybe even some of the 80s. But now into the 90s and 2000 and into this day and age, they can charge you for impaired driving. If you don't, here it's .80. If you blow a .70, they can still charge you for impaired driving. It's not quite as bad as a drunk driving charge, but you're still going to have consequences to pay if you go through a DUI checkpoint and you're still blowing alcohol content on your breath. If they get you out of the car and you're blowing the meter, and you have to touch your nose and do all this fucking crazy shit that they make you do for the field sobriety tests, guys. So just drink responsibly. You definitely do not want to drive if you've had a beer of this magnitude. Trust me. You might get lucky and get away with it a time or two or however, but all it takes is that one time to be at the right place or the wrong place at the right time to get a DUI, and then that's 10 grand. And a blow meter in your vehicle to drive your vehicle and everything. I mean, it's just not worth that hassle, guys. So that's why you see me doing all my beer reviews and drinking here and home rather than, and I don't go to bars and brew pubs anymore. I used to, and I did it for years and years and years and just got lucky, guys. I was one of the lucky ones before I wised up enough to say, I can't do that anymore. It's not worth it anymore. So, I can't emphasize that enough, guys. You do not, no matter what state you live in, get a DUI. Trust me, that is a very expensive problem to have. So, that's why I'm happy to do my beer reviews here, where all I got to do is, if I've had one or two or maybe even three on a bad day, and I'm drinking a beer of this magnitude or a couple of beers, I've probably got enough alcohol in my system, even now that I'm not a 300 pounder and I'm down to 250 pounds or less now. I've already lost over 50 pounds, so you do not want that problem in your life. Trust me, you do not. And I do not. I do all mine here. I do. Especially on beers of this magnitude. I would never drink a beer of this magnitude in a bar or a brew pub and try to drive. So, that being said, let's do the final chug on this, and I'll stop flapping my gums. Awesome aroma. The bourbon notes are there. They're prominent. They're outstanding. This is a beer that I would absolutely, positively buy here if I could get my hands on it. I'm not a big fan of the cork and cage versions of this, and a lot of breweries have gone away from that recently, and because they make bigger caps and they can cap these bigger bottles now. So awesome aroma. And I did pour the other half of the beer that was in here to her glass, and she was blown away, just like I am. This is a 10 beer, guys. It is an outstanding world-class beer. The bourbon notes are there, the roasted malt is there, the dark fruit is there, the chocolate is there, the molasses is there. Everything is there. Awesome beer. If you see this beer from Coop Works, a Territorial Reserve bourbon barrel aged version, awesome beer. I would buy this. I would buy it. If I see it sitting somewhere, I will buy it. I will buy it. I will buy it. I will probably buy as many as they'll let me take out, and as many as my wallet will afford me to take out. Awesome beer. Absolutely awesome. 13.5% alcohol is very easy to, how shall I say this? It's not super well hidden. If I'd had this beer 12, 13 years ago, the alcohol, it would have been super boozy, and my palate wasn't used to something like this, and it would have just been too much. It would have put my face down in the dirt, and it had been too boozy. But right now, with all the beers that I've had over the years, it's very, very enjoyable, very, very appreciable. I know I'm rambling on and on and on about this beer, but it is an awesome world-class beer. So 10, absolutely, 10 plus, 11, 12. It's an awesome beer. Over to Beer Advocate on this one, they say 4.17 exceptional. It's much better than that to me. It's much better. If this doesn't blow your hair back or your socks off, you bought the wrong beer, or it's overpowering the palate, your palate, where it's at this stage of the game. So, over to Untapped, they have it at 4.19. Again, if this doesn't blow you away, you bought the wrong beer, or your palate is not accustomed to drinking a beer of this magnitude. It is an awesome beer. It's a very tasty beer. So, Dr. Brandon, thank you again, sir. I appreciate the beers that you sent me. And it's been several years since you sent me anything, and this has cellared exceptionally well. And I'm just impressed now as I was when I did the last one you sent me in 2017. It is awesome. It is outstanding. It is world class. It is galaxy class. It is a very tasty beer, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. So if you've had this one, guys, from Coop Works, the Territorial Reserve Bourbon Barrel version, this one particular one, the 2016, I think that's what the date is on it. We're looking at the buttstock on the rifle on the front. Very impressive. Very impressive. I guess y'all figured it out by now. Might have a slight buzz after drinking a 13.5%. So I enjoyed this. This is awesome. So if you've had it, let me know what you think, guys. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.